Good afternoon. We're continuing with the laws of Chanukah, and today we're going to start talking about at least how many candles do we light each night. So let's start. We're on Tafresh Ayin Aleph, which is 672, and Beis, number 2. Kama Nerus Madlik. How many lights does a person light on Chanukah? Now, we're not getting into oil or candles yet, just talking about how many. What's the amount? Balayla Harishon Madlik Echad. So the first night you light one candle or one light, and then each subsequent night you add a light. You shmona. So by the last night of Hanukkah you have 8 candles, and that's what we do. It's famously, this is a debate in the Gemara, but this is the way we paskin that we were all raised with. Va'afilu im rabim b'nei habayis, even if there are many people in the house, lo yadliku yoser, don't light more than this. Now this, what I just read, is the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch, Rav Yosef Cairo, and this is what Sfardim do to this day. Rav Yosef Cairo was the author of the Shulchan Aruch, and he was Sfardi. And we know that the Ramah later on added addendums to the Shulchan Aruch for those of Ashkenazic origin, like myself. So right here, the practice of Sephardic Jews is like the Shulchan Aruch, that only the head of the household lights the menorah. Just the father in the house, and everybody else listens to his blessing and fulfills the mitzvah with his lighting. Says the Ramah for Ashkenazic Jewry, V'yesh omrim dekol echad mibnei habayis yadlik, that everyone in the house lights. So according to the Ramah, and this is the practice followed by Ashkenazic Jews, so if your ancestors came from Eastern Europe or the like, then everybody in the house lights except for the wife. We'll see why the wife is different soon. Haminik Pasha, that's what we do. V'yizharu litin kol echad ve'echad neiroso v'makom miyuchad kedei sheyeh heker kama neiros madlikin. And the Ramah adds, though, since you have so many people lighting in a house, like in certain very religious homes, you could have 10 kids, or let's say you have 10 boys, and you have the father, and you have 11 menorahs. So you have to be careful when you put the menorahs in the window that it's not just like a hodgepodge of candles, but they each have to be separate so everyone can tell, so you can tell how many candles are in each menorah, because if you just put like a bunch of menorahs really close to each other, it'll just look like a bunch of like light and like 20 candles together. So you have to have it separate. And that's what the Ramah says. Okay, let's start the Mishnah Brura. Mikan ve'elech. Ve'im ein yado masagas rak l'ner echad b'chol laila lo ulebeso yatsa b'zeh medina v'shiur de Shulchan Aruch hu rak l'mi sheyado masagas lios mehadim min mahadrin k'diisa b'gemara. So he writes, or we might have mentioned this earlier, that according to the letter of the law, on Chanukah, one only needs to light 1 candle per night. Just 1 candle. What we do to light 1 candle the first night, 2 candles the second night, and go on and on until we have 8 candles the final night, that is mahadrin min mahadrin, it's called. That's the best way to perform the mitzvah, that every night we add another candle. But according to the letter of the law, you only need 1 candle. So the Mishnah Brura writes that if someone is very poor, all he has to do is have 1 candle per night. That's all he has to worry about lighting. Echad b'chol laila v'im yesh lo tes neros. Now let's say someone only has 9 candles. What does he do then? Right, for all the nights of Chanukah, he has 9 candles. So Yadlik Balal Sheni, Shtei Neros. On the second night, he should light 2 candles. So this is what you do. If you have 8 candles, that's all you can afford. Obviously, you light 1 candle per night. What do you do if you have 9 candles? You light 1 candle the first night, 2 candles the second night, and then 1, 1, 1, 1 until the end of Chanukah. Vim yesh lo asar neros. Now what about if you have 10 candles? Now it gets a little tricky. What do you do then? Afal pikein lo yadlik rak balal beis ubalal gimel lo yadlik shtayim rak achas. So he says that if you only have 10 candles, so the first night you light 1, the second night you light 2, now the third night you go back to 1, and then you do 1, 1, 1 each subsequent night, because on the third night you don't go 1, 2, 2. You don't do 2 candles on the third night, even though you go back to 1 candle. So even though the second night you're only supposed to light 2 candles, so you light 2. The third night, since you don't have 3 candles, you only have 2, you light 1. You don't light too. Hope that made sense. If not, please send me an email or message me and I will explain it more thoroughly. Okay. Ad shebalal achron. Umisha ein lo shemen harbe yitin be'echad shemen kashir v'hamoiser chalek lekulam shem yasa lekulam b'shava lo yadlik afilu echad kashir. He says that, let's say you don't have enough oil, you should make sure that at least one of your candles burns for the proper amount of time. We're going to learn later how long the Chanukah candles have to be lit. So don't just spread out the oil that right. Don't just spread out the oil that if you give it to, let's say you give it to a bunch of people, that they're not going to have enough. For it to last the appropriate amount of time. Make sure that it's better that someone lights less candles and has the proper amount of time for those candles. V'im yesh lo shemen b'tzimtzum al kol hashmona yamim u'lechavero ein lo klum mutav sheyadlik b'chol layla echad v'yitin gam lechavero tamidina ein tzarich ela echad kanal. Now, he says, let's say your family, let's say you have exactly the amount of oil for 8 nights, but your friend doesn't have any oil. So he says it's better to give your friend enough oil so that each of you can light 1 candle per night, so everyone fulfills the mitzvah. Because to do the 8 candles, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's just the best way to do it. But if you could light the candles and you're lighting 1, you totally fulfill the mitzvah, and your friend can totally fulfill the mitzvah, better to do that. However, if this is at least in the Shulchan Aruch that he's saying that if this person that doesn't have any oil is somebody, because remember the Shulchan Aruch holds that only the head of the household lights. So if this person is part of your household, it's better that you light the best way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and not give him any oil so that he fulfills his obligation with you. That's the best thing to do. So, you're doing the obligation in the best way, doing up till 8 candles, and he doesn't light at all. But since he's part of your household, he's your child, or you support him, something like that, according to the Shulchan Aruch, he can fulfill his obligation with you. So again, the best way to fulfill the mitzvah, obviously, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, going to 8 candles to the 8th day. But one even fulfills the mitzvah if he just lights 1 candle per night, and have a beautiful day and enjoy the rest of the weekend.